Hello, and welcome to this week's edition. I've just realised I've got the slides on Linn's team and not on the starting side of the FPL PubCast, the weekly live stream where we usually preview the upcoming game week, but obviously as we're in an international break, we will be talking about last game week and having a look at our teams. We're also going to have a look at our teams for the next game week, and two of our guests today are on Wildcard, and we're also going to have a quick chat about the deadline day signings and how they may affect FPL, and also what we've learnt so far. So I'm delighted today to be joined not by one but by two special guests. The wonderful Fran, who's joining us on the podcast. He has been on the channel once before, but he's joining us on the podcast for his first time. And back by popular demand after a debut on the podcast last week, we have Linn. Fran, Linn, how are you both?
I'll let you go first.
I am great, actually.
Great.
Couldn't be better.
Fran?
Yeah, not feeling great. I've activated my wild card because I've been hit by injuries in FPL. But otherwise, I'm fantastic.
And of course, I'm also joined by my lovely co-host, Nick Trig. How you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, great. Fantastic. Really looking forward to this international break. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah. It's nice to not have to stress so much, isn't it? Right, before we start, I'll just go over a couple of admin things. So, yeah, a reminder to let you know if you're watching the stream for the first time, all the money we make from this stream from revenue or super chats are given directly to charity. So to Mind, who do a lot of good work in the UK in terms of mental health, and then Street Child United, who do a lot of work globally with homeless children. And if you want to donate to them directly, you can, or find out more about the charities, you can do so by clicking in the links in the description. Also, I'm going to finish plugging this. Not going to stop plugging this in Game Week 4. So if you want to join up to our PubCast mini league, which I think, Linn, you said last week is the only public mini league you're in, is that correct?
That is true. So if you want to keep track on me, you have to join this league.
You have to join this league. That's it. So the code is S3DHWZ if you'd like to sign up. That's S3DHWZ. And there is also a link in the description. If you click on it, it should take you to the FPL website and sign you up automatically. Okay, so before we have a look at our teams, let me just say a quick hello to people in the chat. So we have, get the chat up. We have FPL D Unit and FPL Nightmare, both the first in, our usual co-hosts. I hope you're both well. Pudna, our moderator. Hello, mate. How are you doing? FPL Hippie. We've got Claire. We have Harry Dawson, Chris Woodstock. I am 1974. Kevy. Hello, mate. And Adam. Okay. So I've put the teams in order this week of where we finished in terms of looking over them. So we'll start with the bottom of the pile, who happens to be one of our special guests. Oh, yeah, sorry. Please do like and subscribe if you're new around here and are enjoying the content. So this is Fran's team. So Fran, I'll read over the team for anyone listening on audio, and then I'll ask you to talk us through what happened, how you felt about it. So Fran is on 49 points. Sanchez in goal with 6. Porro with 4. Morello with 1. And Romero with 2 in defence. Then five-man midfield of Salah on 7. Sorry, Salah on 3. Sarr on 7. Cunha on 1. Fernandez on 20. And Reinders on 2. And then up front, Watkins on 2. And Gyökeres on 1. So I'm assuming that by the fact you've hit the wild card, you weren't very happy, Fran.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any free transfers rolled, right, heading to this week, because I did Palmer to Cunha. Plus, I also did a -4 going Strand Larson out, assuming that it would have been a long-term move for Gyökeres. And sorry, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. But yeah, I mean, simply with the Sarr and Cunha hamstring injuries, I don't really think there's a nice way to pivot out of this in game week 4. Like that's a lot of Palace value that I can't reclaim in the midfield. Like sure, maybe you're Pino or Kamada as a transfer, but they don't really bring the same sort of quality or goal threat as Sarr, and then Cunha as well. I could bring in, let's say, a Liverpool midfielder, but it'd be for a hit, and I'm not even that confident in a Liverpool midfielder long term, minutes wise. I mean, Wirtz actually seems like he's really stable minutes, but it's not a move that I really love, anyways. As I probably aim to get Palmer back in the future, so I've just pretty much pressed the wild card off of that, wanting to recalibrate my defense as well. Like the Porto early substitution was something that annoyed me a lot, especially since some of his value is tied to defensive contributions, and I can see that happening a little bit more often going forwards. Otherwise, like if I look at the rest of my team, probably an opportunity to just move off Watkins. And initially, without the injuries, I was just planning to do Romero to Munoz because I had 0.5 in the bank. But that's also closed off to me as an option. So a lot of the moves that I make would just be bringing my team almost slightly below the average quality of the teams this week, and why not just reset? So that's why I'm doing that.
Linn, would you have wildcarded this team? I mean, it's only 2 injuries there, and it's also very similar to my team, which freaks me out a bit that you've wildcarded.
Well, it's a good time to wildcard, and those 2 injuries are they suck. They really suck. So I can totally understand why someone goes, "Oh yeah, no, I can't have this. I'm gonna wildcard."
Trig.
But it's not a bad team in general. Don't think so.
No, it doesn't look too bad. Trig, I mean, I know you've hit the wild card as well. Would you have been hitting the wild card here? And also, how unlucky were Cunha owners, in your opinion, this game week? Very unlucky.
Well, very unlucky, of course, with an injury. I don't know how many points he would have got. He might not have got any points, but you never know. He could have got double figures, couldn't he? But so, Fran, have you already made a transfer for this week?
Like on the wild card, I think I've just taken the Senesi price rise.
Do you still have a free transfer though on this team that's on the screen, or have you already used it?
Oh no, like this team has like 1 free transfer technically. They're heading to game week 4, right? But
yeah, I wouldn't wildcard this team then. I think.
Yeah, but
well, having said that, mine wasn't much different. But I'd probably just do Cunha to Wirtz and play Anderson. Yeah, play Anderson. He's got Fulham, hasn't he, this week? So
well, I would have to play Murillo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to have a look at the second team down. I mean, to be fair, me and Linn are actually on exactly the same number of points. So I've been a bit cheeky putting Linn next, but Linn is on 50 points. Sorry, friend, I should have asked you, whereabouts are you in the world? You had a good start to the season?
Oh, awful. I think I'm like 6 million.
You're doing better than me, mate. You're doing better than me. But someone who's had a fantastic start to the season is Linn on 50 points. So Linn has got Sanchez in goal on 6, defence Porro on 4, Aiton Nuri on 0, Neco Williams on 1. Then the midfield of Wirtz on 3, Semenyo on 2, Gapco on 3, and Reinders on 2. And then up front, Haaland captain 18, João Pedro with 9, and TK with 2. So happy with this game week, Linn, or not?
I mean, it's a bit meh, but it's all right because not all people had a good game week, and my captain actually scored a goal, so I'm quite happy with that. I've got 9 points last on my bench, and it's the second time this player has scored 9 points. So I'm thinking, I need to look into Leeds a bit more. Maybe keep some faith that they actually can have a couple of clean sheets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what their fixture run's like. They're away to Fulham next week, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, away to Fulham.
Yeah, and you were very bullish about Haaland. I mean, that was a good captaincy call. Fran, any thoughts on Linn's team? I mean, Haaland, has he tempted you at all in your wildcard?
No, because I'm looking at free at 6, but I'm flexible to moving towards him.
Yeah. Nick, any thoughts on Linn's team?
It's a good team. I'd be very nervous not having Salah this week, though, unless she's doing a free hit. But are you going to captain Wirtz?
No.
No.
You captain in Haaland.
Gakpo.
I've got a
Gakpo.
couple of options. We'll discuss it later.
Discuss it later. Okay.
But,
Yeah, so where are you now in the world, Lynn? Still up there?
Well, I haven't had a single green arrow this season, but I'm now 69k.
69k, very nice. So definitely the top of the pile out of us four. Okay, so we'll move on to my team next. So I'm also on 50 points. I had Sells on 2, Poro on 4, Morello on 1, Konza on 1, in midfield, Anderson on 2, Bruno Fernandes captain on 20, Salah on 3, Wirtz on 3, Evan Nilsson on 8, Yorkeres on 1, and Mateta on 5. So yeah, I was quite annoyed at this. I don't know how you guys have found it. I mean, have you got a couple of defenders, Fran, from Forest? But my season so far seems to have been defined by Forest throwing away clean sheets. Like I was the game was on, and it was what? It was like the 83rd minute, and it had been one of the most boring games of the season. You know, no shots on, and then I come back to the screen 5 minutes later, and they're 5-0 down, and it's like every single week, I think I'm on a green arrow. I think I'm on a decent points trajectory, and then they concede. It's frustrating. I worked out if they had kept 3 clean sheets, and you may say I'm being a bit revisionist here. I think I would be in 2 million, whereas I'm actually ranked about 7 million. I mean, Trig, I'll come to you first. Any thoughts on my team and on Forest defenders? Because obviously they do have some good fixtures coming up, but I know, well, we can look at if you guys are keeping them or not.
something seems to have changed, doesn't it? Because they're not even getting the defensive contribution points anymore, which is why we brought them in. And yeah, your team and my team and Fran's team. I mean, we've just been relying on 95th minute captaincy goals, haven't we? All 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We haven't had any captaincy points until the injury time. And if it wasn't for those, we'd be really in trouble. You know, Lynn would be miles ahead of us. I mean, she's quite unlucky that Fernandez scored in the injury time. Otherwise, her Haaland captaincy should be like in the top 10K probably by now. So we need to do something, I think, because we're just not getting any points from any of our players, are we? It's all very well preaching patience, but when does patience become kind of stubbornness?
Yeah. I mean, we'll get onto it a bit. I did consider wildcarding because I knew that FPL Nightmare, who's a regular on the channel, I knew he hit it on Friday night or Saturday before the deadline, and then I knew that Trig had hit it before we were going to come on. But I looked at my team, and Forest have got great fixtures, Palace have got good fixtures, Spurs, Bournemouth, and Arsenal, their fixtures are good. I just couldn't see enough reason to hit it. Fran, would you wildcard this or?
No, because you have Wirtz. As much stuff has been said about him, like he's just good for the next 2 games. So like even if you're angling for a wild card in the short term, I'd probably just like this team. I would easily play until 6 and then reconsider. Right, if you suddenly don't want to be that invested into Pool, Forest as well, like those kind of things. But yeah, I think this team is lovely for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's my thought. I know that you've got Yorkeres in on your wild card as well. Any thoughts on my team, Lynn, before we have a look at Triggs? I mean, were you annoyed at the Bruno Fernandes captain? Were we lucky or with that last?
Yes, I would say you were very lucky. And I was like, yes, I'm going to survive this United game. And then he scored. And I'm like, no. But yeah, it's FPL, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we were very unlucky the previous week when he missed the penalty against Fulham. So
yeah, but I still thought like United, like I don't have any United players at all.
No.
So I was like, oh my God, this could get bloody. Like this could, there could be a big hole, but there wasn't really. And for me, apart from Bruno, the right players scored. It could have been a lot worse. So I'm quite happy still, even though you got 1 goal.
Yeah, Cunha was quite highly owned and captain, at least amongst the community, wasn't he? So
but he was an excellent captaincy choice. It's just that it didn't go. It went the FPL way, not the right way.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Okay, let's have a look at Trig's team, who has done the best out of the 4 of us this week. So Trig is on 57 points. I'll just say I think I'm about 7 million in the world right now. The reason I've not put ranks up yet is I really don't think it matters until like game week 6 or 7. So Trig's team, Sanchez in goal with 6. Back 4, Morello with 1, Porro with 4, Agbadou with 1, and Anderson with 3. And then in midfield, Sarr with 7, Bruno Fernandes captain with 20, Cunha with 1, Reinders with 2, and Salah with 3. And then up front, your man, Trigger, seems to be dragging you through the season, João Pedro with 9. So what were your thoughts on this game week, mate?
Relieved.
Yeah.
I started off well with João Pedro, but then it all went wrong. Cunha injury was a bit of a shocker, especially as I'd brought him in for Wirtz, and that hasn't worked out because I want Wirtz back now. So, but I've hit the wildcard button because Strand Larsen, Sarr, Cunha, Mark Gui, problem. Is Steve no good? Agbadou playing in an awful team. Who else do I want to get rid of? Murillo, no good either. So I thought it's a good time to play the wild card. And we'll talk about that later, I guess. But again, it's just João Pedro and my captain all 3 weeks, kind of scraping myself to 2 million, So I consider myself lucky, very, very lucky, because I don't have Watkins, who I was very worried about not owning. He hasn't got a single goal. I don't have Chris Wood, who I thought was going to get a lot of points this week, or any of those, or Semenyo, or any of them. So I've been very lucky, really, just picking the right captains so far. And João Pedro, if it wasn't for João Pedro, I'd be like 8 million in the world.
See, FPL Nightmare saying he wants a quiz rematch with you, Fran. For anyone who didn't see, we were on FPL Discomfort's channel. We did a quiz with, who else was it? Adam was there as well. And there was some notorious cheating incident that happened that we won't go into. But Fran kicked our asses. So yes. So will you take a rematch if it's arranged, Fran?
Yeah, of course. I'll take a free win anytime.
So Fran, would you have been tempted to wildcard this? Oh, thank you, Kieran, for giving 5 gifted memberships. That's very nice of you, mate. Would you have been tempted to wildcard this?
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty similar to my team, to be honest, right?
Plus Strand.
It has João Pedro. Yeah, that's true. I guess, if you don't have roll tree transfers, there's no nice ways to get a lot of the expected value back in the short term. So why not wildcard if you kind of know what you want to do with the team and upgrade like defenders? I'm in a very similar position, where I think, sure, Murillo, I'm going to lose on the value of Murillo over the next, maybe let's say like 5-6. But I don't even, I might revisit him on 6, but I don't really care about him anymore. And I think some of the baselines have changed for Forest. It could be overreaction, but like he's had 4, 5, 6 defense contributions per match. Like that's way off the averages we're expecting anyways. This isn't like Anderson getting 11 out of 12 or something. This is like, like shopping for an Arsenal defender almost for defensive contributions. So that's why I'd be tempted to wildcard. And I think we actually do have enough information at this point in time. And even if we were to get additional information, I don't think it would impact my draft massively. Is where the conclusion that I reached when I pressed my button yesterday.
Does anyone have any theory on what's happened to Nottingham Forest this season? Are they just on a bad run of form, or do you think anything has structurally changed? Because Europe's not started yet, has it?
They're keeping a lot more possession of the ball. So last season they were third last in the league in possession. So I think I looked at Murillo's games, spoke to actually JC, a friend of mine, FPL Spaceman. Like he was also to tell me about how Murillo played the 3 fixtures that he's played already, like 5 out of 6 games last season. He got defensive contributions versus those same opponents. Forest have gotten a lot more possession so far. They're playing 4-2-3-1. You're seeing Anderson, like he's doubled the amount of average touches he has on the game. So that's like a reflection of just generally how more dominant they are. And I think that's worse, right? Like you look at teams like City and Arsenal who have a lot of control, Aston Villa as well on paper, not this season, but those are the types of teams that almost shy away from defensive contributions because they just don't give as much of the ball away as they should to be able to get those points. And then at the same time, they're not the same quality defense as the teams that I've mentioned. So the value to a 5.5 defender kind of goes away.
Yeah, Lynn, should we be running away from Forest players, at least defenders?
Yes.
Yes. That's a nice succinct answer there.
Yes, it's the simple answer, because they didn't. Well, he did say like at the start they weren't solid, and they are not solid. They need more time to sort that out. So yeah.
It's a great answer by Fran, wasn't it? I hadn't really thought of that. You know, they keeping more possession, and because something's definitely changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's going to massively affect the defensive or the opportunity to get defensive contribution, isn't it? Okay, all right. So let's go on. So we're going to, before we get on to looking at Trig and Fran's wildcard and our teams, or early thoughts, I should call it, shouldn't I, for game week 4. I wanted to sort of pick up on the deadline day transfers that happened. It wasn't yesterday, was it? It was the day before. And in particular, this man, Isaac. I mean, I watched Elite FPL a couple of nights ago, and they were saying if you had Isaac in your team, which I don't know why anyone would, you could potentially have 4 Liverpool players this week if you wanted to. But I just thought, I mean, I'll start with your opinions on Isaac, and if you think he should be a target now or in the upcoming game weeks, and then maybe we'll talk through a couple of the other players. Lynn, I'll come to you first as the Liverpool fan. What are your thoughts on Isaac as a signing in general, and also as an FPL option in the short and long term?
Well, I absolutely love him, both as a Swede and as a Liverpool supporter. So yeah, he's been one of my favorite players for a couple of years now, and to have him at Liverpool is just amazing. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be tricky, who's going to start and who's not going to start, and Champions League is coming soon. And we all know, even though I love Isaac, he is a bit prone to injury.
Yeah.
So that means I still think Ekitike, for example, and Gakpo, they'll still get plenty of game time. The question is, who and when are you going to jump on?
Do you think Ekitike is now not an option, Fran, with this signing? Because a lot of people were targeting him, weren't they?
Well, I think on a wild card, I don't think he is. I think if you already own him, I would just try and see out these games, right? Because Isak doesn't have a lot of preseason match fitness. He's going to play 2 games for the World Cup qualifiers for Sweden, and we'll see how many minutes he plays. I know that the manager said that he's not fit enough to play at the 90s, but he's asking to play 2 games, and that probably speeds along that process a bit more.
Yeah.
But it just makes things worse for Ekitike. But if you've owned him, like I will take 70 minutes versus Burnley. Why not?
Yeah. Trig, any temptations to have him in your wild card, and also your thoughts on what impact it may have on Ekitike?
No, I wouldn't be bringing Isaac in on the wild card. I mean, he's quite expensive, isn't he, compared with the other strikers?
Is it 10-4 now?
And like Lynn said, it's a bit annoying. He was just about to drop in price again before the transfer, wasn't he? He won't now. But like Lynn said, you know, he is prone to injuries, and I think the game time will be managed because Ekitike has shown that he's more than capable. So it makes it very difficult to own either of them going forward, I think. If you already own Ekitike, you just play him until he doesn't start and then get rid of him. But Gakpo's affected as well, I guess. Which is why I'm going back to Wirtz, because he's like a constant, isn't he, hopefully?
Is he a player that can play across the front 3, or is he just a number 9? Do you know, Lynn?
He can play on the left, or number 10, can't he?
Yeah, he can. But he released the perfect striker, so shouldn't play him anywhere else.
So obviously coming in to replace Isaac was Visser of Bournemouth, as well as the other lad whose name I'm not even going to attempt to announce. That was it, Watermold or something like that. I mean, Visser obviously very good asset last season. Trig, is he now an option? Is he something obviously a lot cheaper Someone you might consider bringing in on the wildcard?
Not on a wild card, but he adds to that pool of 7.5 million players that are really good. I mean, if João Pedro or someone gets injured in a few weeks, then Visser will probably be the one to go to, won't he?
Yeah.
Assuming, of course, he is first choice. I mean, they might play together, those two, because I think that Nick character can play as a number 10. So
yeah, FPL Nightmare is obviously, we're both Newcastle fans, but he may know a little bit more about this new player than me. Who would you say is going to be the number one, mate? He's in the chat there. The number or starting striker. Fran, thoughts on Visser?
I mean, I just think the minutes aren't good enough. Like, you've got Champions League as well, and you're almost taking a punt on who's going to be first choice. He hasn't had a preseason as well, like, really. I just don't think, especially if the first game is going to be Wolves at home, which you want to have a striker for starting. And if you can't guarantee his minutes there, I mean, you can just wait and see with someone like that. And then, like, I don't know, some of the lineups as well, like Barnes and Elanga being benched last game, I don't really trust how anymore with like fielding teams and whether he's going to change things up massively if you know they run into like poor form or whatever. Like, they played 4-4-2 in the past, but at the same time, like, I could very easily just see one of the two starting consistently and someone winning out the spot for the interim.
Yeah, Claire's making the comment here. Doesn't think Isaac will be on penalties. It will be Salah. Would you agree with that, Lynn? Is that?
Yeah, I would suspect so. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to detract from him a bit more, as well as the price. Have you got any thoughts on Visser, Lynn? Would he be someone you'll be considering?
Definitely someone I'll keep an eye on, but I wouldn't get him in now.
No. Too early, isn't it? Too early. So I've got two players noted down here, and I've sort of written this down for a laugh, but also to get your opinions, because maybe they might be options. Trig, I'll come to you first as someone who one of these players is leaving. Villa's, Jadon Sancho, and Harvey Elliott as loan signings. Could either of those be surprise FPL options? I'm thinking obviously it's Sancho here mainly.
I think Elliott might be the better FPL option long term.
Okay.
Sancho's okay though. He wasn't too bad at Chelsea on his loan last season. He's quite an intelligent player. He could provide some assists for Watkins. He's not as selfish as some of the wingers around, but he's a bit inconsistent. But Elliott could be pretty good, I think. We shall have to wait and see.
Fran,
and Lynn would know more about Elliott than I do, but yeah.
Yeah. Fran, any thoughts of either of them on your wild card?
I don't really want to pick someone who I think Elliott's much better as a pick. Like, if you told me Sancho and Elliott were both going to start consistently, I would pick Elliott like every day, just purely because of goal threat. Like, I think Sancho has close to no goal threat. He was more creative, control, kind of like Jack Grealish for City outside of the treble season. Like, just good retention of the ball, some decent progression and carrying, but I think he does close to nothing for FPL. Like, I would go with Elliott every time. Like, he actually has a lot of goal threat. He takes a lot of shots, to be honest, compared to most players of that profile. And at the same time, I think the only issue is there's still a lot of depth in Villa. Like, there's lineups where you still see McGinn playing out wide. God knows why, but if he can get guaranteed minutes, I will own Elliott at some point in time this season. But I'm just not going to start with him on the wild card because I don't really trust Emery to, like, you see Gassan, for example, like last match, he comes in, he starts, he plays 45 minutes, gets subbed off. I can still see that happening to Elliott, even though I think he's going to do well, generally speaking, and I think they'll end up buying him because the deal's a really good deal.
Yeah, I've got a few comments in the chat, including Nightmare saying they think this will be the number one starter for Newcastle. What are your thoughts on? We'll take your Liverpool expertise, Lynn, on Harvey Elliott. Would he be worth a look? I don't know how much it costs actually. Does anyone know?
I would say he's most definitely worth a look because he's a very intelligent footballer. That's how I would describe him. He always finds the spaces, he finds the chances. He does take the shots as well. So decent self-confidence. So if he only gets game time in a team like Aston Villa, he will score a lot of goals or assist. I think he could be a key player going forward this season if he's nailed on.
And another player I thought we could discuss, because Trig, I think you mentioned him in one of your videos that I saw. I can't remember if it was yesterday or over the weekend. Xavi Simons, who signed for Spurs. I know. I will be honest. I know nothing about him. You tell us a bit about him and what you know, and whether he'll be worth looking at.
Well, his stats in the Bundesliga last year, he wasn't far off Wirtz in terms of goals and assists. Yeah, very, really close to him, like only a tiny bit worse. And he was probably playing in a worse team. But he's very much a dribbly type of player. He wins a lot of free kicks and stuff, and it doesn't so much take set pieces, but he wins a lot of set pieces. And he will be playing at number 10. I mean, Tottenham got a pretty thin squad for a Champions League team. So I think he's going to be nailed on. Of all the new players, he'd be the one that I'd be most tempted to actually begin with straight off the bat, because I think he's 7 million. I think he will do quite well, and Tottenham have got good fixtures. I probably won't get him, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Fran, I know you're quite a big European. Keep your eye on the European game. Any of you seen this guy? Any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I've seen him plenty. Sorry, Nick, did you say that he doesn't take set pieces, or?
I don't think he does he?
He does. So I was just gonna butt in there, but I think that adds value to him, right? And that's also why I'm dropping Porro from my wild card. This is part of the reason too. I think a lot of Spurs' creativity will come through him, and he actually is really good, like finishing. Honestly, like he's a top finisher. Like all the players within Leipzig last season had like a career down year in underlyings, and somehow he still scored 10 goals. That's obviously a one-off, but I generally think for that sort of player, you don't have anyone in the squad who does that. They clearly were lacking creativity versus Bournemouth as well. Maybe that has to come from a little bit deeper too for the Spurs team, but I just think, yeah, he'll be a key part of this team. And I still don't think I'm going to start with him though, because of minutes, and I'd like to see him get bedded in, play consistently first, and then I'll bring him, I'm sure, at 7.
Linn, any thoughts on Simmons?
I think it's definitely worth a look. Maybe not straight away. Still give him a couple of game weeks to find his feet, but he's a set piece maestro. Like, he really knows what he's doing. Like Steven Gerrard-esque. That's what we're talking here. So yeah, I think he will be in a lot of people's teams.
And the last name I had written down, unless there's anyone you guys want to talk about, was Linn. I'll come to you. Donnarumma, is that how I say his name? Donnarumma, yeah. I mean, you said you wanted to talk about him, but is it not going to be the case that we weren't looking at Edison? Why are we going to look at Donnarumma?
Because he can actually save goals. He will get you plenty of save points. He can actually change the game. He showed that in the Euros. Okay. He is a fantastic goalkeeper.
Why did he leave PSG? Does anyone know?
He fell out with Luis Enrique, I think.
I was going to say, because he's not the type of player you'd want to sell, would he? Fran, do you reckon he's an option then, given Man City's defence?
Honestly, at the end of the day, he's the same price as David Raya. So I'm going to say no on that basis. But like, you're not too far off, really. You're not too far off.
Yeah. Nick, any thoughts on him?
No, not really.
You thought he was going to go to Chelsea at one point, didn't you?
Yeah.
No. Okay, all right. So is there anyone else you want to talk about, guys, before we move on in terms of deadline day signs?
Let's talk about Jeremy Pino. Joking.
He's injured already, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. He's been called back home, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe he can still start Game 4.
He's gone to Palace, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember a few years ago.
Fulham have signed a few players, haven't they? And people are asking if that's going to affect Josh King's minutes.
I don't know. Any thoughts?
I think they signed. Sorry.
I don't know if the chat knows or not. You might have to ask the chat that one, because I'm trying to find that out myself. They've signed someone called Kevin, haven't they? Winger.
Fran, do you know?
Yeah, from Shakhtar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that deal's actually done. But yeah, I mean, I think they were also linked with Chukwueze at one point, but that's really only going to hurt the wide minutes. I think the issue with Josh King is you still have Smith Rowe always, who's capable of playing, and like he's maybe just limited to the 65, 70 minutes, but that could just be good enough if he's your 8th attacker. Like I think he's still worth considering in a 3-4-3 structure.
So the next section I've set up. I know it's very early. I know it's only game week 4 coming up. But what have we learnt so far? I've entitled this section, and I told you all about it beforehand. So hopefully you've got a couple of things if you think we have learnt anything. But I thought I would put it in this one to provoke Linn a bit and say, have we learnt so far that we shouldn't have Verts in our side? Linn, thoughts on that, and also just anything you think we've learnt so far from the opening 3 game weeks?
I would say if you like to own Cole Palmer, you might as well own Verts. He's a cheaper Cole Palmer. He's going to be in the middle of the game. He's going to be involved. Some games he will just go nuts. He'll get lots of assists, maybe even a goal. But most of the time, he's just going to be the playmaker behind everything, creating stuff. So if I was only going to go for 1 or 2 Liverpool midfielders, I probably wouldn't go there. But I still don't think it's a bad option. Sorry, I don't.
He's still in my team, to be fair. At least until he blanks against Burnley, and then he goes out. I'll come back to you, Linn, if you think there's any more general thoughts. But Fran, your thoughts on Verts, and if you've got any thoughts about what we have learned over the first 3 matches?
I mean, I think as we tend to say, like if you own someone who's that nailed on to a team as good as Liverpool, like it can never go that wrong. The only thing I'd say is, yeah, okay, I guess I wouldn't compare it to Cole Palmer because at the end of the day, Palmer can still score a pen, right? But yeah, the creativity part is there. They're both elite creators in the game. I just think, do you even need someone at Wirtz's price point if you're not going to seek him for captaincies going forwards? Is the question that I would ask on a wildcard 4. But you know, when I look at your teams and you have Wirtz, like I think he's an amazing hold for the next 2 weeks. Like even if he blanks for Burnley, give him Everton at home is the way I see it. But and I think coming out of this transfer window too, like his minutes are less impacted than some of the other players. So like I see him as almost like being able to play 80 minutes every game and potentially more. It just depends on like Champions League and midweek matches and how that impacts him. But I think he's very safe. I don't see him long term as a game breaker though.
Trig, your thoughts on Verts and any other general learnings you think we've picked up over the first 3 game weeks?
Yeah, in terms of general stuff, I think we've learned a hell of a lot. I mean, at the start of the season, we thought Bournemouth were going to be in trouble with no defence or whatever. They've completely come back and reformed themselves, haven't they? We've just got someone from Serbia in who's like their new Huijsen probably at some stage. And the likes of Senesi, absolutely fantastic picks. Whereas at the start of the season, we wouldn't have been going anywhere near him. We've Everton, another team that have had a drastic change. We've also, I think we learned enough about Forest to know that those defensive contribution points are not going to come back. And I think we've learned lots generally. And as for Wirtz, I mean, I have him on my wild card at the moment for the next few games, and then he's going to become Fernandes. But he looked in the second half quite useful, and we haven't yet seen him against a team like Burnley, have we? So we don't know. And when you bring Isaac in, he's like going to be the one stable presence, I think, in that midfield. He's going to be there whether Isaac's playing, Gakpo, Ekiteke. Very unlikely Wirtz gets a rest. And he's only 8.5 compared with, you know, the likes of Isaac. So, yeah, I'll give him the next couple. I'll be bringing him in at a cheaper price than you lot paid for him. And then kick him out for Fernandes in a few weeks if Fernandes is still looking good.
Linn, just going for a more broad point, is there any other sort of more general things you think we can take as a general learnings from the first 3 game weeks?
For Liverpool or in general?
In general, Liverpool or in general.
Yeah, I think that's Palace are solid defensively, even against some pretty good teams. Liverpool, I would say, before the Arsenal game, I would say we would be a bit shaky at the back.
Yeah, I thought that.
But we actually kept Arsenal out and had some good chances. So I would say, yeah, with the fixtures coming up, going into the Liverpool defense is not a bad thing. Other than that, Chelsea is looking better than I hoped. United are looking more shit, which makes me happy. Spurs is looking decent, but they're also a bit shaky. I think we're still in this period where we kind of need to... The players just need to play more together, and then we'll see what happens and who to get. So we're still in this time zone of like figuring things out.
Yeah. Fran, any general learnings from the first 3 game weeks you think we can use to help us going forward?
I think just Brighton, Bournemouth, and Crystal Palace just still good. Teams that have always been well run last few years. Like, I don't think there's they've had a lot of outgoings, but I don't think there's a reason to doubt those teams. And then Newcastle, Villa, kind of scary to look at for the start. Obviously, Newcastle brought in a lot of players by the deadline, so that can change things. But that's the only thing I'd say. Wolves is the one team I'd say are probably even worse than we thought and very capable of getting relegated. Yeah, that's it.
One thing that just occurred to me, because obviously Guehi, his move fell through at the last minute. Do you reckon that's going to affect Crystal Palace defence? Or just the general mood, I guess?
It comes down to whether you think he's a professional, right? And by all accounts, it seems like he is. So I don't think there's going to be a huge impact. But they are also kind of strapped, in terms of depth, right? So maybe if there is one injury in that Crystal Palace team, then it can change the defense quite dramatically. But for now, I think maybe the biggest question is actually on Adam Wharton and his injury and what that means for Palace over the next 4-8 weeks where he's out. Same with Sarr.
Yeah, professional.
But Palace is also, they're going to play a lot more cups and in Europe now, aren't they? So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect them.
Mateta's already said that they're already tired, hasn't he? And but the thing is, they're not playing until October, are they? Again in the Conference League. So, and I think it's the next 3 or 4 weeks that we want them. I mean, looking at my own team, I probably won't have any by game week 9 anyway, apart from a defender.
Yeah, I was just going to say there, Guehi, you're right, a professional, unlike Liverpool's new signing, Alexander Isak. All right, let's move on to look at our teams for game week 4. So, Fran, we'll start with your wildcard. So I'll read over it for anyone listening on audio, and then if you can talk us through your reasoning for the players, basically. So Fran's wildcard is Raya in goal. He's 4-4-2 for next week. Virgil van Dijk, Anderson, Munoz, and how do I pronounce this name? Lacroix in defence, and then Salah, captain in midfield, along with Semenyo, Fernandes, and Paqueta, and then up front Mateta and Gyökeres, and on the bench the Bravka, Reinders, Thiago, and Senesi. So yeah, Fran, do you just want to talk us through this? And have you got any money in the bank?
No, literally none.
Literally none. Okay, do you want to talk us through your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. I was kind of delivering between Virgil and Gabriel. At the end of the day, Virgil's 6, so that's kind of why he's on this team. Anderson, Senesi, Lacroix, all kind of early doors, very good for DEFCON. Nothing's changed too much in those teams. Obviously, a lot has changed in terms of the Bournemouth personnel, but stylistically, I mean, not a huge difference. And then Munoz on the. I wanted to transfer him anyways on my base rolling team, but it's a good time to bring him in and almost replace him with Porro for what I think is hopefully a good value for an attacker. Interesting, I was actually looking at some of his numbers so far. It seems like him and Sarr have kind of swapped roles sometimes, where he's no longer taking as many shots for this Crystal Palace team, but then he's been a lot more creative in terms of crossing and things like that. And he's no longer going inside as much. I don't know if that's a long-term trend, but I still like him anyways for the short term. But I'm open to changing that. Raya, just a small upgrade on Sanchez. I don't think there's a huge gap now that some of the good Chelsea fixtures have gone out, and we're still seeing that Arsenal are just rocks so at the back. So that's kind of why I have that core. Midfield wise, Paqueta, I had a few drafts at the beginning with him, and to be honest, he just is proving to be like basically a baby Bruno. Penalty taker, defensive contributions possible, and then still getting some open play actions. But of course, like he does play deeper at times, right? And for the same reason I have Bruno, I just think he's a bit of a lock for most of the season. Even if he plays at DM, I don't really care. Semenyo is a placeholder for Palmer in Game Week 9 when I'm going to transfer him out. So I don't mind locking in someone who I think is very stable, plays every single match possible, and looks to be having a breakout season. Like he's already impressed. He's 25. He's probably going to get better. That's kind of what I'm betting on. Over, let's say, going for maybe a Brighton attacker who's a bit cheaper. Salah, it kind of feels very hard to go without Salah on a Game Week 4 wildcard. Like I've been considering like whether, structurally speaking, like if we want to go Haaland, I think I spoke to Nick at the start of the call before we went live, and he kind of spoke about whether there's like ideas to go to Haaland Game Week 6 if Salah continues to look like an absolute ghost on the pitch, right? Which I think is actually unlikely, honestly, just given the history and all. And so yeah, that's kind of why I have Salah, just because I think on this timing you kind of need to count him in the next 2 games and then wait and see. And then front line, Mateta, Gyökeres, I mean, more Palace on a good fixture. And then by using a loose plan here of free at 6, I am bench boosting on 5, so that's why you see so many attackers as opposed to, let's say, 4.4 forward. But yeah, Mateta is just someone who I think in a structure where I go for, let's say, Thiago here and have 8 attackers is someone that I'm willing to compromise from that sort of Watkins-esque position, and has generally good games. And I'll probably bin him out by Game Week 9 for Palmer. So the idea is Semenyo plus Mateta in the future will be Palmer plus a 4.4 forward with 0.1 in the bank right now. With Gyökeres, I just think he's I think he's underpriced. I'm sure a lot of people have made jokes about how he's wearing Timberlands, but I don't care. I look at like season-long goals on markets. I just think I can't really go wrong with an Arsenal forward. I'm free hitting on 6 anyways, which is one of their poor fixtures, Newcastle away. I'll hold him for a long time, and I'll wait and see with him. Thiago, actually, he benefits from another unprofessional player, right? Who joined your team, by the way. But yeah, like he's played 90 minutes every single match. Shadi just missed a penalty. I think penalties will be back to him. I think he is probably better than Strand Larsen if he is playing 95 minutes every single match. And yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, like I don't care how bad Brentford's fixtures are. He's probably my 8th attacker most weeks. And Reinders, I trust his minutes. There's just so many injuries. He himself is capable of playing like thousands and thousands of minutes every season. Like when you compare it to like peak Bernardo and Gundo when they actually were very important to Pep, I just think those players actually held up with really good minutes compared to what people think. Yeah. And as long as I have good confidence in his minutes, he's still going to stay in my team. And I bought him quite early on. So yeah, that's kind of the team. Cool.
Oh, I'm doing a poll, by the way. Where would you rate what Fran's wildcard from rubbish to amazing? It's not looking good so far, Fran. I've got to tell you.
That's all right.
Trig, I'm not going to quiz you too much on Fran's wildcard because I know yours is quite similar. So Linn, I'll come to you. What are your thoughts on wildcard? Fran's wildcard.
I quite like it apart from Salah. I'm still a Haaland supporter. But I get the penalties, but also I probably would prefer Kudus.
Okay.
Yeah, more expensive though.
Is he?
Yeah.
What is it you don't like? What's it you don't like about Salah? I mean, you're a Liverpool supporter, Linn.
No, I love Salah, and he will get returns, but I don't think he'll get a haul like he's done in the past. I think it's going to be one here and there, like 1 goal, 1 assist, not 3 goals. If you want to captain someone who gets a hat-trick, it's going to be Haaland.
Why have you still got Anderson? I mean, he's in my team, so I'm not knocking him, but what's the motivation, considering Fulham have looked not great defensively?
I mean, like, look at their fixtures, right? Like, why would they have done well defensively? They played Chelsea, United, Brighton, and both. I think the Brighton game was away, so it was a bit unfortunate, anyways. Like to concede a penalty to Brighton. Like Fulham, for me, I always trust their underlyings. They've been really solid this whole time. Not much has changed really in their team from last season. They have better fixtures coming up. And at the end of the day, like Anderson's proven that he's more than capable of getting defensive contribution points every other game. So at that sort of level, I'm basically just betting on Fulham to be better than probably like a mid-table defense. And in my opinion or view that they are. So Anderson will probably stay my team. Like I think I'll probably own Anderson most of the season.
Craig, what's your thoughts? I know it's without spoiling anything about your own wildcard. What about the double Palace defence in particular?
Well, I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried he hasn't got João Pedro. I mean, what's he doing? You've got to have João Pedro.
That's all right. I mean, he has a lot of ownership, and I'd rather get my points with picks that aren't super highly owned outside of obviously Salah in this case.
He's highly owned for a reason. He's the best player in the league. He's getting, honestly, he's playing for the world champions.
He's the best player in the league.
No bias at all, Drew.
Because there's some set-piece goals.
There's some what?
Some set-piece goals.
Set-piece goals. Chelsea have got the highest predicted goals this season. Fantastic attacking machine with good fixtures, and he's only 7.5 million. And you've left him out, and I just can't be doing with that. Okay, no Chelsea players at all. It's just not right. Just not right.
I'm gonna end the poll, Fran, and we'll have a look at the results when it finally shows you them. So we had 4 ratings: okay, good, rubbish, amazing. You've got rubbish 13%, okay 43%, good 38%, and amazing just 4%. So, any reaction to that, Fran?
Well, I don't know. If I actually listened to what people said, I probably wouldn't play this game.
And we will do the same with Craig's wildcard when we get to it.
I got a bad one as well, but they don't understand, Fran. That's the problem. They're not next level like we are.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just, like if we all had the same conception of teams, then we just wouldn't play. Like, I mean, we'd have the same team, right?
All right, let's move on to Linn and my team before we get to Craig's wildcard. So Linn is currently set up as 3-4-3. Sanchez in goal, away to Brentford. Porro away to West Ham. Aiton Nuri and Munoz at home to Man United and Sunderland. Wirtz and Gakpo in midfield away to Liverpool. Semenyo at home to Brighton. And Reinders at home to Man United. And then Haaland captain up front. Pedro vice captain against Brentford. And TK away to Burnley. So how are you feeling about this team? And I do believe you... Oh, sorry. And Dubravka, Van der Ven and Xhaka and Goodmanson on the bench. I do believe you've made a move already. Is that right?
That is true. I went for Munoz because I knew I wanted him and there might be some injuries, but then I can take a -4. It's not the end of the world. And then I don't have to think about it. So, yeah, I went early.
Running away from the Nottingham Forest defence.
Yes, exactly.
When they've got great fixtures coming up. Why do you think
maybe I'll try someday, but...
Why do you think Munoz is so crucial?
Sorry?
Do you think Munoz is crucial? I mean, I think he's going to be in every team apart from mine.
I think he's one of the players I probably want to own for the next 10 game weeks.
Okay. Craig, Munoz crucial?
I haven't got him, but it's a great team, that one for this week, isn't it? As long as Salah doesn't go off, you're going to have a really good week.
Yeah.
But again, it comes down to Haaland versus Salah, doesn't it? I mean, captaincy is so important. But if Haaland does better than Salah, you're going to have another amazing week.
Yeah. And even if he doesn't, you've got 3 Liverpool attackers.
And I agree, if you get another injury, you don't even have to do anything. You could even play Xhaka or Van der Ven.
Trig, before I come to Fran, D-Units asked me to ask you in the chat, can you ask Trig best Chelsea asset at the minute if it's after Pedro, basically?
Probably Cucurella. It's very difficult to pick many other players for Chelsea. I mean, they've got Garnacho hasn't even played yet. He was another one that we haven't talked about that's come in on a new signing. So, it's very difficult to pick Chelsea midfielders. I'd love to have Esteval, but I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Fran, any thoughts on Linn's team before we move on to mine?
I think it's amazing. Like, I mean, she's pretty much gotten all the City picks right from the start. And as I said, like if you and Gakpo at KTK, you'll just enjoy that for the next 2 matches and see what's up with minutes later on. Yeah, there's practically nothing wrong with this team, and
You could wildcard to it, Fran.
I know, but I mean, it's I'm basically still betting that Salah's going to do well the next 2 matches, right? And hopefully that does well, like compared to a Haaland-esque structure over the next 2 weeks, and we'll see where that takes someone like myself. But yeah, I mean, like, can't really go wrong. And then you don't want, like, this team doesn't need a free at 6 at all. It can kind of go perpetually.
Any temptation to bench boost, Lynn? Got Dubravka at home to Liverpool, Van der Ven away.
I used my bench boost in game week 1.
Oh, of course. My apologies. All right, okay. Let's. It'd be worth bench boosting otherwise, I'd say. Right, let's go on to my team. Right, so I've got Sells and goal away to Arsenal, Porro at the back away to West Ham, Anderson at home to Leeds, Konza away to Everton, and then midfield of Reinders at home to Man United, Fernandes away to City, then Salah, my captain, and Wirtz away to Burnley, Evan Nilsson up front at home to Brighton, Gyökeres at home to Fulham, and then Mateta, who's my vice captain, at home to Sunderland. So yeah, guys, I did consider wildcard, and as I alluded to earlier, when I realised, I'm 7 million, I think, in and around 7 million. But then I looked at my fixtures, the fixtures this week, and then I looked at the fixtures for the coming week. Forest, I know they started terribly, but great fixtures. Same with Crystal Palace, Fulham, Anderson. I mean, the only real weak links I've got, I would say, are Konza and Wirtz. They're the only 2 100% I need to get rid of them players. And I'm thinking I could just do that in the next couple of weeks. So, I mean, I'm actually, call me stupid if you want to, but I'm actually naively optimistic about how this team is going to do in the next couple of weeks. Trig, am I being too naive?
No, it looks reasonable to me. I don't see much wrong with it. You haven't had the bad luck with injuries that myself and Fran had, so your team doesn't look too bad. And I don't think you can say that Wirtz has to go in the next few weeks.
Well, if he doesn't perform against Burnley.
I think Konza's a pretty bad pick, but I mean, he can always get a clean sheet, can he?
Yeah. Any thoughts, Fran? Would you this?
No, I wouldn't. I actually think Sells is a bad pick, but I think Konza's good. Like, you still have good fixtures. It's not I'm saying that sells now, but he's like a goalkeeper I don't love. Konza, you have to give him Burnley at home, so you're gonna have to keep that man until game week 8. I'm telling you now. The team's great generally. It's close to, like, I could be even wildcarding similar to a team structure like this, minus someone like Porro and Sells. So I think it's wonderful.
Oh, I'm loving this. It's a lovely. Lynn, are you going to give me some good vibes as well, or are you going to rip me apart like you did last week?
No, I actually think it looks good for the upcoming game week. The only thing is your bench. Oh my god!
Yeah,
I hope all your players play.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess Esteban's a bit of a weak link as well, isn't he? But he's only 4 million. I mean, I'm not going to move him on anywhere. So yeah, my plan is, I mean, obviously, I'm probably gonna have an injury or something happen by next Saturday. But otherwise, it's just I've only got 1 free transfer. I think I've got 0.3 in the bank. It will just be to roll and probably try and deal with any issues the following week. Okay, so let's get on to why a lot of people probably hear. The video is titled Trig's hit the wild card. So here is Trig's wild card that he sent me. So I'll read through it, Trig, and then I'll ask you to talk us through it. So Trig has got Sanchez in goal away to Brentford. Then at the back, the lesser seen this season, Gabriel against Forest at home. Say the name again for me, Fran, would you? Lacroix at home to Sunderland. Virgil away to Burnley, and another Anderson away at home to Leeds. Free in midfield, Semenyo at home to Brighton, and then Salah and Wirtz away to Burnley. Then up front, Ateta at home to Sunderland, Pedro away to Brentford, and Gyökeres at home to Nottingham Forest, with a bench of Dubravka, King of Fulham, Senesi, and Dewsbury Hall, who came in last week. And I will set up a poll, Trig, for the viewers to rate this while you chat us through it, mate.
And the other thing is, this team, I was looking at Fran's team, and I couldn't understand why he had nothing in the bank, because my team's got 2.5 million in the bank. And yet they're not that different, really. And I think it's because I've got Josh King, who shows quite a bit of money off. I also looked at getting Paquetá in, like Fran, instead of Semenyo. But I think I'll probably go with Semenyo. But the defence, I think we've learned enough in defence to know that they're all going to be great picks. And what I wanted to do was kind of pick a team that later wildcarders are going to pick pretty much the same team. I mean, people wildcarding in a few weeks, they're all going to get Semenyo, they're going to get Gabriel, they're going to get Gyökeres, they'll probably be forced to buy João Pedro, and they're going to end up paying a higher price. I mean, Senesi already went up in price yesterday. So by playing an early wildcard, I'm thinking later wildcarders are going to end up having to pay probably $1 million more for the same team. And, I do think we've learned enough now about defensive contributions to say with some certainty that the likes of Lacroix, Anderson, Senesi, and Virgil van Dijk are very good picks. And obviously Gabriel with Arsenal's set pieces is very good. And now they've got, they signed that one from Chelsea, Madueke, who's a very selfish player, but he gets an awful lot of corners, which is probably why Arteta's got him in. And they're almost playing for corners, aren't they? Deliberately trying to get corners. And Gabriel's going to get attacking returns. I've got the Arsenal striker in because people are going to be buying him in en masse, I think, in the next few weeks. And this is actually a 3-hit 6 team. So Gabriel and Gyökeres won't be in my 3-hit team with their bad fixture at Newcastle, which makes them more appealing to get in now. Same with the Palace players. So I'll have a nice 3-hit in 6. Unless Salah is really poor in the next 2 weeks against Everton and Burnley, in which case I will do a permanent switcheroo to Haaland and probably get Palmer back in. Because like I said, I've got 2.5 million in the bank. In game week 7, Wirtz becomes Fernandes for his home fixture against Sunderland. And in game week 9, Semenyo becomes Palmer. So it's all planned out. And the bench is so good, if I have injuries, it won't matter because I've got such a good bench. And it will also mean I'll be able to play a bench boost in the next week or 2. So the only weakness on the bench boost is probably going to be Dubravka. But you never know with a goalkeeper. They can get save points or whatever. But yeah, I'm really liking this team. And I looked at a couple of shows this week and I thought their wildcards looked rubbish. But when I did mine, I found it really easy to get a good wildcard team that I was happy with. So the injury to Sarr, because I'd already pressed the wildcard button before the Sarr injury, that kind of confirmed it as being a good time to wildcard. Before then, I was thinking I didn't really need to play it. Do you know what I mean? But I just wanted to get ahead, get the players in now, like Senesi, for the right price, and then sit back and watch them increase in price, and everyone bring them in anyway. Because I think that defence, that's the kind of thing people are going to be moving towards.
Would you say this was a wild card on a? They always say between wild carding when as a show of strength when you're ahead or a panic. Which one would you say this was, Trig?
A mixture. I think I've been very lucky, to be honest. I should be about 8 million because the only reason I'm not is because Watkins and that have been so bad. But my players haven't done anything. I've just been lucky that other people's haven't either. But I didn't like my original team much. I didn't like the defence. So I'm much happier with this. So the more I look at it, the more I like it, basically.
Then I'll come to you as a fellow non-wildcard. What are your thoughts on Trig's wildcard there? Would you change anything around?
No, I think the team looks great, and I think it's very wise to plan ahead with getting the Arsenal players already now, even though I don't actually want them or need them until game week 7. But still loading up on 1 or 2 of them now is probably very good. I love the Virgil pick. I do wonder with Salah, is it because he's got 2 good fixtures coming up that everyone's going Salah over Holland?
Yes, it is. If it wasn't for that, I would have Haaland in a heartbeat. But the captaincy is so important that I'm not prepared to risk.
But aren't the other players you could potentially captain?
There are, but I always captain the top of the polls.
But do you think Salah is actually going to get more than 2, like 1 assist and 1 goal? Do you think it's going to get a hat trick? Do you actually believe that?
No, I don't. But you never know with Salah. That's the thing. I mean, I'm not prepared to take the risk. I mean, he's projected to get more points than anybody else this week by everybody, bookmakers, everybody else. So,
but another thing to take into account is it's Burnley at home. Burnley are fairly good at home compared to away.
This is true, but how often do they face the quality of Liverpool? So,
ooh, I like the way you talk.
It's true though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's okay keeping clean sheets in the Championship, but playing Liverpool, I mean, and those Liverpool players will be hungry. I mean, I think Wirtz is going to be hungry for his first goal as well, isn't he? And Salah too, because he's been quiet.
Kip's got
a question I wanted to ask, actually. Can I just ask you a question, you guys? Do you know how all the players, they play FPL, don't they? Like Salah and all them, they've got FPL teams. And they take notice of all that type of thing. Do you think the defenders are taking notice of their defensive contribution points, like making an extra effort to get 10 defensive contributions in the game, so they're become FPL heroes? I'm wondering if it has an influence on them or not. I can see it happening to a few of them.
Linn, do you reckon Van Dijk's not knocking a spreadsheet up with his defensive contribution points every week?
I doubt it. I think they like it, but I don't think they're keeping count.
No. Fran?
He broke the record, didn't he, in game week 1, I think? He got 23 or something, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure they pay attention, but then it's what, you have a sequence in the game, you're like, I'm going to pass the ball or I'm going to clear it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I know Merlo certainly hasn't been playing FPL, so I don't know.
There's a question in the chat from Akib. When's your bench boost plan, Trig?
Quite soon, I think. Maybe even next week, like Fran. I'll see how the land lies. That's why I didn't get Reinders in, because I'm not 100% on Reinders' minutes. I mean, we've got to remember Man City have been losing. I mean, They lost to Brighton. They lost to Tottenham. So, and Rodri's back. So, whereas I think Dewsbury Hall will play all the time. King's the one I've got to be careful of because, like I said, they've made 2 new signings. I'm actually quite tempted to start King this week. I don't know who I'd bench. I suppose I could play him for one of the defenders, but I think he could do well at home to Leeds.
Before we start our Q&A, so I'm going to put something in the chat now. If you've got any questions, please get them in. Fran, it's a fellow wildcarder. Any thoughts on Trig's wildcard?
I think it's really solid. As I was saying, Wirtz makes a lot of sense for the next few games. So if he's the one pick in this draft where you're happy at bidding him off in a few weeks' time and taking advantage of the good short-term fixtures, it makes sense. And then, if you think Dewsbury Hall is... Because I guess with Everton, maybe the question to ask is, are they that good on attack, especially with Grealish now? Or is that also because they've played some of the weaker teams so far? I don't know how good exactly all the Everton picks are because they've all been on fire, right? And Jai's basically got a tap in every week. Last season, we were sort of complaining about his underlines being poor. Dewsbury Hall has been involved in a lot of actions, like so is Grealish, where they just play the ball through him. So that's kind of like the macro point that I'd be curious, right? Because as long as Dewsbury Hall is a good pick, like this draft is like it's held intact, right? It doesn't need King to be that consistent, I guess. But yeah, I think it's really solid.
He could become. I mean, I could get Paqueta in. Like I said, I've got a lot of money in the bank, but the reason I've got money in the bank is because of Isaac. Like, it could become essential, couldn't he, in a few weeks? So I'll have the money to get him, and I want to get Palmer back as well. Yeah. So I'm quite happy going with lots of money in the bank because it's hard to improve this team, I think, in a way. But I mean, the difference between yours is you've got Fernandes in now rather than Wirtz. Yep. So I have to spend a transfer in game week 7 to get Fernandes in. But I think that Wirtz for the next few is probably, it's a lot more riskier, I think, to ignore Wirtz in the next couple of weeks than it is to ignore Fernandes. I mean, I might be wrong on that. I mean, he could score against Man City, couldn't he? But I'm more worried about not owning Wirtz for the next couple, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I'm generally worried about like not owning Liverpool players, but it's like I kind of think if I'm setting up or reducing the amount of transfers I need to make in the future, that's why I'm okay with owning Bruno. And worst case, he can still get defensive contributions. It's pretty much why there's a good floor. Like Wirtz has played some good games so far. Like Bournemouth at home, that was anticipated to be a really good game for Liverpool. Like they were expected to have more than 2 goals by the markets for that game, right? And so, like, I mean, we've had some matches for Wirtz to do well. 10 versus 11 versus Newcastle. You'd expect in that game state for him to do better too. So those kind of things, I just think, am I that scared of Wirtz? Like, it's not too different to looking at like how the rest of the field has like Rodgers and Watkins, right? And they've had some great games, and like those can come by, and some of the picks that we just think are really solid can still flop. Whereas I just think, yeah, long term, I'd much rather own Bruno compared to Wirtz. So that's why I own Bruno.
The Burnley game is going to be very different from any other game Liverpool have had this season now, and it should suit Wirtz. He's going to have time on the ball. It's going to be all about picking through passes and stuff, and I think it's the kind of game he's going to shine. And I don't want to take that risk of not having him, really. But I do agree with you that over the season, I think Fernandes will outscore him, which is why he's going to be my first transfer out. But I probably need to be brave like Linn was with Man United last week, because I wasn't brave. I got Cunha in and it backfired on me. So it's hard to know when to be brave and when to be, when it's sensible to be scared, isn't it? But I mean, it might well be that Liverpool just win 2-0 and it's a couple of randoms that get the goals.
Yeah, I mean, something I've considered is also dropping a Palace defender. Like I've got 2 right now. Maybe I have one too many. Potentially, like Gabriel is very nice, and I guess I've got Raya to make myself feel better about not having Gabriel, but that could be something I do as well. Yeah.
So if you got rid of a Palace defender, which one would you get rid of?
I'd probably get rid of Munoz, to be honest. Because I do think it's weird because Munoz is the type of player where I think he's a classic fullback attacker. So when you have a really good game, you feel bad about missing him. Whereas actually the worse the match is, I'd probably actually rather have Lacroix. So that type of defender feels like someone who can be played every single week. And then if I'm spending more money on Munoz, it doesn't feel so good because it's not like they have the same sort of baselines like Gabriel does with clean sheets. And so it's all quite close. But yeah, I can imagine when there's a bad Palace game, my team looks a lot worse. Having said, I'll probably transfer 2 of them out soon.
Yeah, I don't like having double ups in defence. I don't know why, but I mean, in theory, it's not bad, but I just don't like it.
I think it emotionally is bad for an individual game week, right? But then if you own like a double up long term, like you'll have high highs, low lows, and all you need is for a team to overperform over a run, and suddenly you feel better, like net. But yeah,
Linn, you didn't like that Munoz answer from Fran there, or your face?
No,
I own him.
that's because I just rate him very highly, both for everything, clean sheets and attacking, and yeah. I think he's a must-have going forward.
I think Munoz as well is better in the easy games, isn't he? Because Leclerc's probably less likely to even get those 2 defensive contributions in the easy matches. And whereas Munoz can get huge points. But like Fran says, Leclerc's better in the tougher matches. Yeah. But they might be the matches where we bench him. So we might not get those defensive contribution points.
There's one player I'm missing in both of your wildcard teams, though.
Who's that?
Essay.
We've got a question about Essay coming in a minute.
We forgot it. We didn't mention him, did we, when we were talking about players moving clubs?
Yeah, we've got a question about him coming in the Q&A.
Yeah, he looked very good. Yeah, I may well get him in game week 7. It'd be a choice between Fernandez and Eze, I guess. But he looks very good. He's cheap as well, isn't he? Is he 7.5 million?
Yeah.
So you're getting him, are you, Lynn?
Very.
Trig, the poll results are in for your wild card. You've got, I think it's similar to Fran's actually. Rubbish 15%, okay 35%, good 37%, and awesome 10%. So I think you're about the similar sort of ranking there. Sorry, Fran,
it's more awesome. No, it's more awesome than mine. That's what I can tell.
I think is it more rubbish as well? There's so many people in the chat today.
I just can't understand how I've got 2.5 million more than Fran. I hope I haven't made a mistake and my budget's over or something. I'm starting to wonder now.
He won't let you do it. Okay, all right. So, Fran, did you have one more thought you wanted to say there, mate? Because I cut you off there, I thought.
Oh, no. I'm good.
Okay, all right. Please just a reminder, do like the stream if you're watching and subscribe if you're new around here. So we'll move on to Q&A now. So, first question that I noted from the marker I put in is people's thoughts on Eze. So, can't remember who said that. So, Lynn, I'll come on to you first.
What was the question?
Thoughts on Eze?
Eze, I think he is a brilliant player, and when he came on against Liverpool, he looked lethal. He was the only player that really scared me on the pitch. Yeah. I think he will quickly get nailed on for the Arsenal team, and I think he is definitely one of the more attacking players at Arsenal. So I would prefer him over Victor.
Yeah, and lads, do I need to ask anything? Why is he not in your wildcard drafts, Fran?
I don't know. I think it goes back to Arteta, really. I don't know. He's the type of player I would have actually thought could have started that match versus Liverpool, and I'm kind of shocked that he didn't. But then again, it's Arteta, so I just don't really necessarily trust his minutes now. Yeah.
That has actually got me thinking. I mean, why haven't I got him? I mean, I could have him instead of Semenyo.
But it's also less set pieces compared to what he usually got. No pens. So
yeah, I guess
it's asking for a lot. Like, you have Semenyo in your draft, right? So it's like, I guess the question to ask is, do you prefer Eze or Semenyo?
Yeah, that's what I'm now asking myself. I mean, Semenyo's not on penalties either, is he? So
no, but he plays, like, you can guarantee he plays 95 minutes a match, and he could be on penalties. It's like, to me, if Kluivert, he doesn't play full matches anyways. Like, I generally would not be shocked if Semenyo took a penalty over Evan Nilsson. But that's like, I don't know, like maybe a 15.
Arteta was a bit mean, wasn't he, to Eze? Is blaming him for not winning the match for them the other day.
Okay, whose question was that? Akab, we talked about Harvey earlier in the stream, so I'm not going to ask that, but we did talk about him when we were talking about the players coming in. Nuclear Atom says, is Haaland worth losing out on one premium and mid-priced player? You guys know what he means by that?
I think he's asking like whether we should go a Salah Haaland draft, right?
Okay. Yeah. What's your thoughts?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Honestly, I think if you care about Haaland so much, just own him. But the way I see it is, I'm gonna have Salah. I'm gonna captain Salah most of the weeks over Haaland, outside of 6 where we're free hitting. So I'm almost making a statement saying that I'm not going to captain Haaland most of the time. And if I generally don't think Salah is captainable, then I would just own Haaland instead. I just think that it's not like a yo-yo sort of situation with captaincies. If you look at their fixtures, you can generally just choose one over the other. And it's almost like based on your perception of how good each pick is right now. And for me, I'm just going to choose Salah. And if I'm wrong by GAMEWEEK 6, then I'll be there.
Linn, you're very much in the Haaland camp.
Yep.
Not worth saving.
Just because I think Liverpool definitely score lots of goals, but I think it will be spread.
Here's a question from Creed87, who is a channel member. Please do hit the join button if you want to check out channel memberships. What are you guys' highest FPL finish ever, and do you think you can beat it this year? So mine is 3K. I think 3,100, and no, I don't think I could beat it this year because that season I guess in theory I could, but I think it's unlikely. Trig, I know what your highest finish was, 35th in the world back in Victoria times.
Just a sec, you didn't ask me about Haaland, and I've tried to make a wildcard team with both, but I don't really like it. I mean, I looked at doing it and then taking Salah out in GAMEWEEK 6, but no, I don't really. No, there's too many compromises for my liking. But I agree with Linn that Haaland is going to be better, but for next 2 weeks, I don't think Haaland's going to be better, which is why I've got Salah in for the next 2 weeks. But in terms of, I've got no chance of beating my best ever rank because that was 35. And no, I'll be happy with top 20K, I think, this season.
Fran?
Yeah, I can't remember what my best rank was, like somewhere in the top 500.
You've got it memorized. I know you do.
I don't. I actually don't. It's like 400 something. But no, I don't think it's realistic. But I do hope I get extremely lucky. So why not?
Yourself, Linn?
Yeah, it's probably around 800-900, but I was 10 years ago, so I don't think it counts.
You guys, does count, Linn.
I'm the only one here without a bloody 3-digit finish. Any chance of replicating this season, Linn?
Probably not, no.
What? Don't say that. You've got a fantastic chance of doing
I've got a good chance, but I'm too reckless. I'm just too reckless of a player to actually make a good go of it.
Okay. Another question.
I think that might help you this season. You're being non-afraid is working very well, and you could have a great week this week. If Salah blanks, you could have another fantastic week. You could go right up into the top 1,000 almost this week.
Another question from Nuclear Atoms. Which combo would you go for? Raya and a Chelsea defender, Cucurella or Chalobah, or Sanchez and Gabriel? Trig, Chelsea fan?
Well, the Arsenal keeper combination, I think that costs, is that the same price? I think that costs $500,000 more, doesn't it? So if you get Cucurella and Raya, yeah, it costs $500,000 more.
Yeah, it would.
Which is why I've gone for Gabriel. But Nightmare said this to me yesterday. He said, "Why don't you get Cucurella and Raya?" And it is, to be fair, it's possibly just as good an option, I think, as going Sanchez and Gabriel. Because Cucurella's pretty attacking, isn't he? But I don't know how Garnacho is going to make a difference. But I think either's good.
Either of you disagree with Greg there?
I think you can. I mean, not that I disagree at all, but I think you can still maybe consider Tosin from Chelsea at 4.5. Like the managers, look, I don't really trust Enzo because he's waffled a lot, especially with the flashbacks on Nkunku last season. But he said how important Tosin is to sort of how the team should pass out the back with a central center back, that sort of thing. So at 4.5, if you think he's going to play most games, he's still really good as a pick.
Chalobah is a bit of a risk, I think, because Fofana's coming back to fitness, isn't he? But
Trig, we got to hope so. Shut that bloody Roberto up with his Chalabella.
Tosin's got a lot of attacking strat too. Chelsea are the new corner kings, aren't they? So there are goals in there for them.
Another question from Nuclear Atoms. I'll direct this to you, Lynn, specifically. How many clean sheets do you reckon Liverpool will keep between now and game week 8?
Game week 8, I would say 4 or 5.
4 or 5? There's only...
We kept Arsenal out. We're good.
There's only 4 game weeks, and they're going to keep 5 clean sheets. That's incredibly.
All right, 4 clean sheets then. Let's go for 4.
Do you lads agree with Lynn's prediction there?
I think their defence will improve. I mean, you've got to remember that it was a new defence almost, wasn't it, at the start of the season with Kirkes and Frimpong. But they're going to tighten up. And like Lynn says, the tougher the game, the more chance of a clean sheet, I think, with Liverpool. But you'd have to hope they keep a clean sheet against Burnley. But the Everton game would be interesting, though. I wouldn't put it past Everton to score. But, yeah. I don't know. Who have they got after that, Lynn? Is it Palace away in 6?
And Sunderland as well.
Oh, is it Sunderland as well? So
I thought that
I'm
was
quite
14.
happy with my Virgil van Dijk pick.
Palau says thoughts on Cucurella. Have we talked about him?
Yeah, we kind of did.
Nick has, yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah, we saw.
I mean, he's pretty good. I think he's underrated in the community a little bit. All the Chelsea players seem to be. But he's going to do well, I think.
So this is a bit of a more broader question, but Mark, who's a channel member, says, will FPL ever change the timing of the end of the match week to allow for corrections after the last match? Auto owners got extra points. The Crocs, whatever you say his name, owners didn't. Who's Port? Yeah. Any thoughts on
Porro,
that?
yeah.
Porro, yeah. Any thoughts, Fran?
The weird thing is the rule is that you should have there's an hour after the deadline where they adjust points, right?
Yeah.
And Opta, who is their kind of like stat aggregator, had already corrected Lacroix to having 10 DEFCONs like during that hour. So I just think they need to hold themselves to their own rules. Is really the case. I think it's unfortunate sometimes. Like I remember last season, if you guys remember, there was like a whole debacle over the Sun assist, right? But because there was a Monday game, they had an extra working day to get someone on the job to actually determine whether there was an assist or not. So I think there should be a cutoff, but they just need to hold themselves to their own rule. So I think in that case, they should have just adjusted Lacroix points if someone was on the job and doing their job. Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Craig? Or
They've made a couple of errors this week, I think, haven't they? Didn't Lacroix should have got something, or something happened as well with him? And,
Yeah, that's it.
And like, it's not good enough, is it? If they're going to have these defensive contributions, they need to get them right. So it's not a good look, is it? I don't know what they can do about it. Is it just the Monday games? I mean, but Porro was on the Saturday, wasn't he? He played on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Where did he play? Was it Saturday? Saturday, I think.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Saturday. That's why they had time to adjust it, I guess. But don't know.
Oh, yeah, they did adjust his, didn't they? It was the other one they didn't. But if they're going to get everyone wrong on a Sunday, then it's not really good enough, is it? It's very important, like the difference between 9 and 10.
Yep.
Yeah. Questions are coming in so fast. My blooming browser's not keeping up. Thoughts on Pedro versus Mateta on free hit game week 4? Asks Giado. Lynn?
I don't know.
That's a helpful
3 and 4?
answer. Helpful answer, Fran.
3 at 4, Sunderland at home. I mean, maybe I'm not seeing it with João Pedro. Maybe he is God, but I'll take the player playing Sunderland at home on pens.
Yeah, I think I would go the former. Greg?
What was the question?
Pedro versus Mateta for free hit game week 4.
Both.
Both. Well, you can do both on a free hit.
Good answer, actually.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So if I've missed any questions here, the browser is going so quick, I'm finding it difficult to keep up.
I'll look for some questions for
No,
you.
there's millions, mate. That's what I'm saying. There's billions of them. I could be saying, is Shevchenko going to mess up the not in defence, or is he just a backup player? What's your thoughts? Fran, any thoughts on that one?
Zinchenko.
Yeah.
Is he gonna mess up? I guess he could mess up Nico Williams, but I don't think he'll make the team any worse than they are. Like he's a bad defender 101, but he also helps them control the ball. Actually, he could make them worse for DEFCON. Yeah, so maybe he is gonna mess it up.
Yeah, Trig?
It's very difficult to say with Forest. It's like they're not doing that well, are they? They might change things up. I mean, he's a decent player, so we don't really know. Everyone's hoping that he's not because they own Williams. But we haven't seen Forest in Europe before, have we? So I think a lot's going to change. And even the manager could change. I think Forest are a big avoid, personally, if you're wildcarding at least. And yeah, I don't know. They bought half the Botafogo team as well, haven't they? I think they're up to 5 now, aren't they? 5 players from Botafogo. I was kind of following them all in the Club World Cup, and they look quite good in that, but I don't know if they're going to be any good for Forest or not. Most of them just seem to be reserves at the moment, don't they?
Yeah. I'm going to just going to direct questions to one people now, because we've got one person each. We've got so many coming in. If Enzo is on pen and calls ranks, is he better value than Pedro? Lynn, I'll come to you.
Who is?
If Enzo hauls ranks and he says he's on penalties, is he a better value than Pedro?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, I think Pedro will outscore him.
Fran, Harlan and Isaac will surely be the template forward soon.
Can't see it because people will still own Salah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's too much. Yeah, it's too much money. Too much money in up front, isn't it?
I don't think many will own Salah. If he doesn't do well against Burnley and Everton, there's going to be a huge exodus from Salah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
I guess it's affordable. It is affordable if you take Salah out of your equation, isn't it? But it's still a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah. Trig, with Villa looking so flaccid, Cuckshare asks, is Watkins a sell this week?
I was thinking of buying him on my wild card. I haven't ruled out having him on my wild card because I've just got that feeling that the new signings might galvanise them. And if you've got him, you definitely hold him, I think. You have to hold him now until game week 7 at least, and then swap to the Arsenal striker. But I've been worried about not having him. But the worry's dissipating a little bit because a lot of people are selling him, aren't they, now? But tough fixture next, though, isn't it, away at Everton? But, yeah, I probably won't get him. I won't get him, I think. But I was tempted to bring him in.
Yeah, Abdullah asks, would you recommend selling Wood and buying Pedro? I mean, that's a bit of a overreaction. People were talking about captaining Pedro, weren't they, this week? Lynn, what do you reckon for that?
He was one I did consider, actually. But still, I just struggle to trust Chelsea with anything.
Yeah, I agree.
What was the question? It was the wrong way round, wasn't it? Was it saying get rid of Pedro to get Wood?
Yeah, get rid of Wood to buy Pedro.
Yeah,
yeah. With Forest fixtures, it's difficult, isn't it, to do that? Pedro's in Brazil at the moment, isn't he? So both of them, I think one's in New Zealand, the other's in Brazil. Hopefully they both come back okay.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably save it. If I had Chris Wood, I wouldn't be getting rid of him now before those 2 easy games. I'd just be hoping Pedro does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he was great last season, wasn't he? I personally think people are knee jerking on Forest. Question from me to you guys before we finish.
Ah.
What are you thinking in terms of free hit? Because I know Fran has got a very specific plan. Fran, I'll come to you first. You're fixed on game week 6, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, I just think it works well with starting with Salah. I guess if you were comfortable going Salah and Haaland now, you might not need it so much. And you could shop for, I mean, like some of the fixture predictors have suggested there's a small, like maybe sub 5% chance of a free, like a blank game week, right? In the first half of the season, although unlikely. There's also like the Liverpool City fixture in game week 11, where you can maybe use that again. So free hit 11. And then some people who might have, let's say, gone Haaland to start, they might really feel like they're missing out on Salah and 4. That's another one. But those are popular windows that I've seen.
Lynn, I mean, you've already got Haaland and Reinders. Have you got any particular plans with free hit?
I don't actually, because I struggled to make it. My plan was to wildcard early when we had more information, probably during the international break. But since I actually am quite happy with my team, my plan is out the window. And now I just kind of have to do whatever feels right and see when I wildcard and see if maybe then I need to free hit. But at the moment, I don't feel the need to.
Great.
My wild card is optimized to free hit in game week 6, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'd do it. I think it'd depend on Salah. If I don't like Salah in the next 2, then I'll make a permanent switch to Haaland instead of free hitting. Because the only reason to free hit really is because you want Salah long term and you just want Haaland for that Burnley match. But if I no longer want Salah, I'll just use 2 transfers to permanently switch Salah to Haaland, I think. But we shall see. Because my team's not bad for game week 6, other than not having Haaland, really. So, yeah. But there's also this talk of a double game week, which I think is completely overblown, to be honest. It's just like
what is it?
An excuse to get people to go and look at the season planner, isn't it, from what's his face? But it's very unlikely, I think, it's going to happen. But even if it does, we've got all our free transfers and stuff, haven't we? So it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, Fran, you're always on top of the fixtures. Do you know what is it? Is it Crystal Palace missing a game and having a double, isn't it? Something like that, potentially?
Yeah. I think Ben's actually elaborated that, and Talent Nadim as well sort of chimed in. So you can find it on one of Ben's posts, I believe, the full detail. But it's a potential blank in game week 17, I believe.
Yeah. All right, I think we'll wrap up there. I'll just do a little bit of admin. So, Trig, are we going to do the FPL lock-in on Saturday? I think, could we maybe just do it as a Q&A?
I don't know. One other thing.
Go on, mate.
Game week 17, is that during AFCON?
Yes.
So, because of like Palace have a blank or whatever, most of those Palace players we have, they're all in AFCON anyway, aren't they? So we wouldn't have to worry about them because they'd be gone by then, like Sarr, Mateta. They'd be gone, wouldn't they? So they're not going to be an issue, really. Anyway,
I'll sell Mateta, but I think Mateta's French. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So me and Craig may be doing the FPL lock-in this week. We haven't decided yet, but if not, we always do that when the games are on every Saturday at 8 o'clock, where we react to the games. And obviously, we'll be back for the podcast at 6 p.m. next week with FPL Nightmare and Darius. FPL D unit is very, very active in the chat today, I have to say. Yeah, please do join our PubCast mini league. The league code is S3DHWZ. That's S3DHWZ. And you can also click in the link in the description, which will take you to the FPL website and sign you up. Please do like, subscribe, and join if you want to check out channel memberships. I will. Oh, and please do donate to the two charities, Mind and Street Child, if you have enjoyed the stream. I'll just come to you all. Thank you so much for joining us again, Linn and Fran. I'll just come round to all of you and ask where people can find you and so on and so forth. Trig, I'll start with you.
Trig Talks FPL on YouTube, and you can go and have a detailed look at my logic behind my wildcard, which is still pretty much the same, I think, as on the stream, except I've changed Paquetá to Semenyo at the moment. Other than that, it's the same. So, yeah, go and check it out.
Yeah, and Fran, I feel a bit stupid saying this to a guy who's approaching 50,000 subscribers, but where can people find you if they'd like to check out your stuff, your excellent cheat sheet and so forth?
Yeah, it's just FPL Fran on YouTube. I think FPL __Fran on X. But thank you.
So thanks so much for joining, mate. Yeah, and links to Fran's channel can be found in the description. And Linn, where can people find you if they want to follow your team? Outside, well, obviously, they need to join the PubCast chat league if they want to follow your team. But where can they find you more generally?
In general, it's just Linn _FPL, and that works for X on Blue Sky and Instagram and whatever.
Yep. And you can also find links to Linn's Instagram and Twitter in the description for this video. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining, Fran and Linn. And me and Trig will either see you on the PubCast on Saturday if we decide we're going to do one. If not, we'll see you next week for the PubCast. Same time, 6 o'clock on Wednesday with FPL Nightmare and FPL D Unit. Thank you, everyone. See you later.